The President of India, Droupadi Murmu, is a woman whose life story shocked the entire world. She was born into the poorest and most powerless caste, and on her way to the top, she had to survive some of the hardest personal trials. How did she manage to get through this nightmare without breaking? Why does her story touch absolutely everyone? And most importantly, how did a simple girl from the lowest caste become the president of the most populous country in the world? Watch the full video to discover the incredible life story of this woman. Let's begin. In 2022, India elected a new president. It was 64-year-old Droupadi Murmu, the governor of one of India's poorest states. She was given the high title of Rashtrapati, which means Lord of the Realm, and she became the Supreme Commander of the Indian Armed Forces. At her inauguration ceremony, Droupadi appeared completely calm and confident. But only those who knew her well understood the losses and hardships hidden behind that calmness. In India, a person's fate is often decided at birth. At best, Droupadi Murmu could have hoped to become the head of a small village. Indian society is divided into castes, and each one has its own strict place in the social hierarchy. Everyone knows their place from the moment they are born. The lowest caste is called the Untouchables, people destined to do the hardest and dirtiest jobs. But Droupadi was born even lower, into a group that was not even officially recognized as part of society. She was born among the Adivasi, indigenous peoples who, for centuries, were kept at the very bottom of Indian society, without rights of any kind. They lived in the poorest villages, with no education, no healthcare, and not even the right to vote. Many of them still survive only by hunting, gathering, or primitive farming. But how did a simple girl from such a poor family manage to become the president of the most populous country in the world? The village where Droupadi was born survived mainly through cattle herding. But she was luckier than most. Her parents could read and write, and were even involved in running the local settlement. Still, Droupadi grew up in deep poverty, just like the rest of her tribe. Her family lived in a small hut made of clay and straw. The village had no electricity, no roads, and no school. The nearest school was in a neighboring town several miles away. Every morning before dawn, young Droupadi helped her parents with chores, carrying water, working in the fields. Then she would walk barefoot to school, 5 miles there and 5 miles back. In the evenings, she would return to household work again. The villagers didn't understand her. They believed there was no point in getting an education. Their only purpose was to work, survive, and stay silent. But Droupadi kept studying hard, even in the toughest conditions. After finishing school, fate smiled on her for the first time. A local politician heard about the unusual girl from a remote village and wanted to meet her in person. He was so impressed by her determination and excellent grades that he paid for her college education. Droupadi graduated with honors, earning a degree in the arts. For her people, it was a sensation. No woman from their extremely poor community had ever earned a college degree before. After graduation, Droupadi returned to her home state. She got a job as an English teacher at an ordinary school in the small town of Rairangpur. Her former students still remember her as a strict but fair teacher who would stay late after class to help those who struggled with their studies. Later, Shyam entered her life, a bank employee from the same tribe. They had a small wedding following the traditions of their people. Together they had 3 children, 2 sons and a daughter. Life became full of family responsibilities. But even in her happiness, Droupadi could not close her eyes to the suffering around her. While working as a teacher, she saw how many children from the lower castes could not even attend primary school. She made a firm decision to change that. So when Droupadi was offered a job in the government of her home state, Odisha, she didn't hesitate for a second. Her hard work and her amazing ability to understand ordinary people quickly made her one of the most respected women in the region. But back then, she had no idea what trials and tragedies she would have to face. In the year 2000, Droupadi won the elections with great success and became a member of the Legislative Assembly for her state. She was trusted with serious ministerial roles in transportation, trade, and fisheries development. For her tribe, it was a historic moment. Never before had a woman from their community become a government minister. Her success amazed everyone. Once, people tried to stop her from even going to school. And now she was leading entire sectors of the economy. Droupadi Murmu became incredibly popular among the people, and her political career rose rapidly. In her state, there were already talks that she could become the next governor. And even in Delhi, among the circles close to the President of India, her name was heard more and more often. It seemed that all doors had opened for her. But right at that moment, a series of heavy trials began. Trials that could have broken anyone. In 2009, tragedy struck her family. In a car accident, she lost her eldest son, Laxman. This loss hit Droupadi so hard that she fell into a deep depression and stopped communicating with people. Of course, politics was no longer part of her life. At that time, it seemed like things could not get any worse. But a few years later, a new tragedy came. She lost her second son, Sipun. The circumstances of his death were never fully explained. This pushed Droupadi into deep emotional exhaustion. She even seriously thought about leaving everything behind and joining a Hindu monastery, a matha. With great effort, she forced herself to keep living and working. But her trials did not end there. A year later, her beloved husband Shyam passed away. He had suffered so deeply from the deaths of their sons that his heart could not take it. In 2014, he died from a heart attack. And just a year after that, Droupadi lost her only brother. In just 7 years, she had lost almost her entire family. Their once lively and happy home had become empty. Only she and her daughter Itishri were left. "It felt like God had turned away from me," Droupadi later said. "But then I realized God was all I had left." After going through so much pain, she found the strength to live on, for her daughter and for the people she could still help. In 2015, Droupadi made a triumphant return to big politics. She was appointed governor of Jharkhand state. With this, she became the first female governor from a backward and poor tribal community. The following years were extremely successful, and Droupadi became one of the most respected politicians in India. The pain she endured made her even more sensitive to the suffering of others, and her name became a symbol of hope. That is why, in the summer of 2022, the parliamentary parties nominated Droupadi Murmu for the post of President of India. And so, a woman who was once considered nobody became the head of the largest country in the world. Today, she is a true icon for women from the many tribal communities of India. Through her example, she has inspired millions of people across the country to study, to believe in themselves, and to fight for a better future, even when it seems impossible. As president, Droupadi pays special attention to education in the poorest regions. Today, hundreds of new schools and colleges are being built in the most remote parts of India. She believes that every person, no matter their background, deserves a chance to learn and to live a better life. Droupadi has endured heavy trials and unbearable losses, but she did not give up. She found the strength to move forward and inspired millions along the way. And what do you think helps a person survive terrible losses? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your story might give hope to someone who needs it. Please like the video if you enjoyed it, and see you next time.